just an absolutely gorgeous day. It's got to be above 50 degrees. It's supposed to be pretty warm this entire week and rain quite a bit. Actually, there's quite a bit of, probably hear it, quite a bit of melt coming off the deck roof right now. And had a quick sandwich for lunch so that I could spend some time outside. I'm gonna go out in the garden and try to do some necessary work around the hoop house. I discovered while drilling the holes for the pipes and the hoops that I have messed up the foundation dimensions. When I moved it with Michael, I set one end at the appropriate width, but I never did the other end, which is why the height on the end, on the south end, is correct, and the height on the north end is incorrect. And that's a problem because it's going to mess up my rows, and it's also going to make it nearly impossible to back the truck in to empty manure, which is a big goal that I have, so that I'm not doing everything by hand if I can avoid it, at least to get it inside the hoop house. And the reason I know that is because I came out, and I know it looked weird, but until I measured it, I didn't realize why it looked weird. And the reason was because one end is the appropriate 17-foot width, and the other end is almost 20 feet wide at the base. The issue is it's frozen in now, frozen to the ground. The pipe is frozen to the ground. So what I'm going to do is use this beautiful day and do some shoveling, which I need to do anyway. I'm not getting very much exercise these days in the winter. So I'm going to do some shoveling and try to clean out the foundation to the point where hopefully I can get some melting action along the pipes, enough that I could break through the ice and then lift the hoop house up and pull one side towards the other, both in the middle and at the other end, so that it will actually then be the correct dimensions all the way through. The height on the other end will allow me to get the truck, the back of the truck in, at least to the point where I can unload manure directly into the hotbed that I'm going to create this year to germinate seeds.
I've spoken previously about the importance of taking care of your body, especially if you do physical work like farming. And yet, most farmers I know do not even think about stretching before intense activity. It's important all the time, but it becomes especially so when you've been a bit sedentary through the coldest part of winter. When things outside provide the opportunity to get back into the swing of things, you need to pay special attention to your muscles and their need to be stretched and worked slowly at first. Otherwise, you'll pay the price in lost productivity later while you're recovering from a pulled muscle, or worse, not to mention the pain you'll feel. It may seem like a waste of time, but it absolutely is not. It sure does feel good to be out in the garden on an unseasonably warm day doing something productive, even if I do wish that I'd set the foundation and put in anchors properly in the fall. I'm sure I could have found something else productive to be doing outside for an hour at lunch on a 50-degree day in February, but this will do fine. Well, that was a good little workout, and I'm pleased with what I was able to do, even if I do wish in some places I could have penetrated the ice a little bit more. I didn't shovel the outside over here for 2 reasons. 1, I ran out of time. I did this during a lunch break and I needed to get back to work. And 2, I don't need to shovel it right now anyway. I really don't need to move this side of the hoop house. It's right where it's supposed to be, on the very edge of a garden plot, with tilled ground on the inside and grass driving path on the outside. I will need it cleared when I put the plastic on, because the plastic will be attached to the outside of the wooden foundation board. But since this is the west side of the hoop house, I'm sure the snow will melt within a few hours tomorrow, which is supposed to be as sunny and only a little cooler than today. I did clear the inside of the foundation over here because eventually I'm going to need to get all of this snow out of here. It would be best to do that with a snowblower because I cannot throw this amount of snow far enough to clear all of the hoop house and the driving path I've made outside. The disadvantage of using a snowblower on this style hoop house is that the shape of the house does not allow me to get right up to the edge. The hoops would block the engine and the handle portions of the snowblower. And I have to get the snow out because if I put a bunch of manure in here, even though that manure will heat up to 140, maybe even 160 degrees, that will have no effect whatsoever on the ground beneath it. In fact, it will have the opposite effect that I want it to have. When I move that manure out of the hoop house, even if it's in mid to late May, there'll still be a strip of frozen ground and possibly even snow underneath the manure. I want to avoid that, so I'm going to get as close to the bare ground as I can. On the other side, I cleared both the inside and outside of the foundation board. Our property is situated in such a way that the large pine trees, which will be coming down once I get my sawmill and we build a garage that I don't want destroyed by a falling pine, they block the morning sun, especially in the winter, from hitting the garden until mid-morning. I need all the UV penetration I can get on that side of the hoop house because that's the side I need to get out of the ice, pick up, and shift to the west by as much as 2 feet. I had not planned to do this part of the job today, but it was so nice at lunch, and the sun is staying up longer now, that I couldn't resist going out at the end of the workday and clearing the snow from what will be the interior of the hoop house.